Hello, everyone. Alexis Cohen here, and I'm your host of Paint, Pray, Flow, a journey into creative freedom through divine love, peace, and prosperity. And today we have the lovely soul sister amazingness, Whitney Freya. She is an expert in inspired living, providing practical tools and practices that free your mind from the limitations and scarcity to create more in your life that lights you up from the inside out. She's the published author of 3 books. Her latest is available on Amazon, Rise Above, Free Your Mind, One Brushstroke at a Time. That is such a wonderful title, Whitney. Hello, welcome.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you.
I know. Good to see you too. I love this. I love this conversation. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And a summit wouldn't be a summit without you.
I know. She and I were talking before we started. I'm like, I'm glad you do all these summits because this is when we get to catch up and reconnect. And wow, I love how you and I are so completely on the same frequency wavelength, like what we're sharing. It's like, if you like this, you'll also like this, but we do it differently, of course, you know, and I love that. And I'm grateful for all the different ways our healer creative selves are showing up on this planet to support us during these transitional times. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah. Yes. You know, and as we're sitting here, it's so funny. I have my potential questions I could ask folks, but right when we get into this space right away, it's like the magic that we create, the portal that we create together just starts moving through. And I just want to really honor that because the big theme of this whole process is flow, and really listening to the flow. So, and you're Whitney, you're a master of this. I love following you and watching these adventures where you're really, my experience of you is that you are following your creative flow. So can we just jump right in there? Where has your creative flow been leading you these days?
Wow. Well, so first for me, when you talk about creative flow, you know this, of course. And for me, it's like life is the creative journey, right? For me, the canvas makes that visible. It creates a place where I can go to very intentionally create what I want into this physical reality. It's also where I can go to understand what I'm being invited to learn or embrace more, because the canvas is such a mirror. And then the results are what is actually happening in my life off the canvas, more so, right? My relationships, or what I'm doing for fun, or how business is kind of guiding me, right? As opposed to feeling the pressure and the anxiety and the stress, which I'm very familiar with in my life, right? And then choosing, and I think definitely at a stage now where it's like I've chosen to just see everything as creative potential, no matter what is going on. And it's really, with every brushstroke, that level of understanding and confidence in the bigger picture, the confidence in the flow has strengthened. And so these days, while I'm teaching a new program and writing my next book, and it has to do with becoming unstoppable. Which I have really felt that unstoppableness. In 2012, I got divorced. I left 700 acres and a ranch and the financial security and rented and, just started over in a lot of ways. And 6-7 years later now, in my house that I bought and feeling very purposeful in my work, and having a very well-rounded life that brings me lots of joy. And so this newest teaching is around that, around how can we create this unstoppable feeling, as opposed to being so critical of ourselves and judgmental, or complaining, focusing on what's going wrong, which is so easy to do, right? And it comes with understanding how to care for ourselves as vibrational beings. And so a lot of what has gotten me through the tricky times in the past has been really looking at things and thoughts I'm thinking or things that I'm doing or people I'm with is this higher low vibration. And if I'm not happy with whatever, whatever degree of happy, content or satisfied or whatever, then how can I raise my vibration? Not even going into the details. I'm low vibration now. What can I do to raise my vibration? It's not his responsibility. It's not its responsibility. The house isn't going to do it. I have to do it. And so I was given, how these things happen. You work very similarly. I think I was given a sacred geometry symbol, and I was simultaneously given kind of like, what are the basic things? If we're nurturing these basic things in our life, then everything else will be okay, right? Like that was kind of the question. And so those things came together into this online program, which is I Am the Unstoppable Dream, and the book title, which is still, coming forth, and maybe something like 30 Days to Unstoppable or something like that.
Ooh, like when you're sharing about this, it feels so juicy and so delicious and like just such potent medicine, especially like, I think about this a lot, right? Like, so birth, like if we are birthing these visions or birthing a new life, and when we're birthing a baby, we birth babies, like even the longest birth it's not longer than a few days, which is, it's a long birth, but like the baby's coming no matter what, right?
Yeah,
so,
right,
but when we're birthing these dreams or these projects, sometimes it feels like we can't stop it, but we can't, like, you can shut it down, right? Like if you don't step into it, you can shut it down. And so like what I'm hearing with this medicine is like, okay, what can you tap into? Like what are the practices? Like what is the wisdom that you need to tap into so you can keep birthing, you can keep bringing forward your own personal vision and like this new earth that we're ushering in?
Yeah. And actually what has been obvious, been made clear to me is me owning the fact that truly I am a channel for this work, right? Which it's funny, right? Like even like my ego hesitates to say that. I mean, my whole career, I opened an art center with no art background. Like I've been channeling this shit for 24 years, right? Like there's never been a moment where I could be like, oh, I've got this. Like this has been my history. Like I've R&D'd and I'm the expert at this. No, it's like comes through and I share. But when I was in Guatemala this year in January, that came up about really owning the fact that I'm channeling this. And
Can I just ask you a question about this? Because there's a piece here that, so you're channeling it, but there's this other thing you're doing. You're taking massively brave actions.
Yes.
Like, so there's like, you're channeling, and I know there's a lot of people who channel and they're in their space, and yeah, it's very beautiful to be doing that. But there's this other piece, like, okay, there's action we're being called into too. So,
yes.
So can you speak into that too? Like that part that you evoke within yourself to not only be the channel, but to take action, especially like, and I know that place where you're like, I'm just going to do it,
Yeah.
So can you talk about that part right there?
Absolutely. So first, let me say that I feel like, just like when we talk about intuition, some people feel things, some people see things, hear things, just perceive things cognizantly, which is my predominant way of intuiting information. And I think it's the same thing with channeling. I think we're all channeling a lot more than we would understand. I don't like all of a sudden get taken over by, a group of beings and my voice changes and all that. It's literally just opening up the ideas. It feels like being in flow, right? Like it's like these thoughts and ideas are coming through and I'm either putting them on the paper, or the perfect example of this is when I was in Guatemala, I was feeling the call to sit down and write. And I thought I was writing a chapter for the new book, right? And it was like, oh no, like very clear, like you're writing, this is our message to people for you to share, to invite them into this course. Because this is how I write books. I create a course and then I have to write the book. And so there was a lot of resistance there because I'm like, I don't want people to think, oh, she's channeling the message so you pay for her course, right? So it was like, oh. And they were very clear, which I know this, like, it's like this teaching about caring for yourself as a vibrational being is coming through a lot of people in a lot of different ways. There's my version, and then and so I wrote this all down, pages, like 5 pages in my journal. And then it was like, do the video now, post it on, YouTube. And so it's on my YouTube channel, Whitney Freya LLC. I think you'll find it, but it's like, okay, I just got this. I was told to read. I'm just going to read this as it came through. And I did the video, and I said, I'm stepping into the fact that I am channeling this. And it was very well received, and everyone was glad that I didn't get in my own way. Right. So this is a really important shift, is when you're in this flow, right? It's not always going to feel comfortable. It's not always going to feel like you're qualified or have the right to ... You are being asked, invited. It's not an order. I mean, I think maybe some people can, whatever. But you're being invited to allow this to come through, simply to share.
Yeah.
And it's our ego, it's our individual fear-based self that is afraid of either being labeled a kook or, not being taken seriously or criticized, or people being like, no, you're wrong and we don't want what, and the reality is, especially with this World Wide Web, where people, if they're attracted to you and they're listening, it's because they're meant to receive it. And when you come from your heart, whatever's flowing through is going to create magic.
Whitney, so beautiful. So beautiful. So when you're invited, when you feel that calling, however you want to describe it, from your guides, God, the divine, higher frequency. So that's so beautiful. What a great example of, so what I also hear in that share is like, there's like a vulnerability piece too, like an authentic, like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm feeling called to share it. And I think that's such a great example for folks who are watching this, because sometimes we feel like we need to do it perfectly. And when we give ourselves the permission, I know for myself, it's like, okay, I need to be okay with crying through what I'm going to say. But like to allow that like messiness, like it being vulnerable, it's like, it doesn't have to look perfect. Is there anything else you want to share with our lovely viewers around like that moment where you get that call and you like, you really want to step, you hear the invitation and you want to step into it? What can support people in taking that step?
Well, so, this is why and how I teach the personal painting practice, right? Because like if we're stopping ourselves short of actually taking the leap, right? Or even making the phone call or any little step along the way to the leap. We can practice being bold and courageous and wild and free at the canvas, and kind of build up that frequency or that muscle until all of a sudden you find yourself just leaping, that thing you've been so scared to do. All of a sudden you're doing it because you've been practicing at the canvas. So you can practice channeling at the canvas. You can practice being in flow at the canvas, practice going to the canvas thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to paint a Ganesha. It's the last painting I was looking at before this call. And then you go to the canvas and maybe something else goes through. Yeah. Can you detach from your agenda of painting Ganesha and paint the portal or the mandala or the face, whatever's coming through? You can practice knowing that, like, oh, I love this first layer, I don't want to ruin it. Like, be daring and risky and, wild, or practice destroying it. Like, get destructive. Like, feel that, like, oh, wow, and see what's beautifulness comes as a result. So the way I recommend practicing anything you want to experience more of in your life, more intuition, more compassion, more peace, more of that feeling of centeredness, more of an abundance mentality, take it to the canvas, connect to all the different shades of color, all the different things you could paint at the canvas. Like, holy crap, there is no end to the abundance of things that could manifest on this canvas. Feel into that. That's what the journey of Rise Above, that my third book, is all about, is connecting to how we can create what we want to feel from within. And we can do it symbolically at the canvas to make it more visible, to create the experience of it. And once we've experienced it and we've felt it, right, you feel that flow, you feel like, wow, I thought this canvas was going to be this, and then it ended up being that. And I can trust that. Like, that's where we build the trust.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So for folks who are watching this, who have never picked up a paintbrush before, who might be sitting there, oh, I'm not an artist, like all that chatter that's going on right now, what would you say to someone who this is like, painting is a really new thing for them?
Right. So where I begin with everybody, and where I begin all my canvases, I get out a blank canvas and I'll squeeze out whatever color paint looks good, and I just cover the white. Like, I doodle and I spill and I spray, and then a stencil, whatever comes to mind. You know, I might take a toilet paper roll and start stamping that, or bubble wrap, or I just try and create as much fun in that first layer. And when I'm coaching people, you know, in whatever way I'm working with you, I want you to stay in that first layer, just playing, becoming present, losing yourself as the colors layer and the textures build up. And it may take you 2 weeks of painting every day at that first layer. It may be instant. It doesn't matter. It's all good. But I want you to get to that point to where you've let go, you've surrendered, you're in the moment, you're just having so much fun at the canvas. And once we're there, then we go on to, you know, painting something, you know, shadow, or how to get the eyes realistic, or blah, blah, you know, all that kind of detail. First, it's reclaiming that sense of freedom, because truly the blank canvas, you know, in a lot of our lives, right, we're very aware of the limitations, or, you know, the facts, or what's practical, or I'm not good at that, or I'm good at that, or whatever. You go to the blank canvas, and really, even before you pick up the paintbrush, try and wrap your awareness around an end to what could be created at that canvas. Just try and find like how there could be the end. Like, yep, only 5,992,888 things can be created at that canvas. Like, no, it would never, ever end. So connect to that, feel into that. Like, wow. I've had students paint things in their first workshop that they're just like blown away, because they got to that place of freedom. And what came through, what flowed through them, they never in a million years would have expected. Ever.
When I went to art school, like, it was very, you know, it's very technical, and I left before it got, like, when I was getting really, it was getting real tight. And I switched to this great class. It was a process painting class. And, you know, it's all about intuition and following that. And that was like the first point, that was like the first moment where I was like meeting God on paper, on the canvas. It's kind of like what you're saying too. It was almost like we were like throwing paint to catch moments of God, like on the canvas, you know. And like, as you're sharing, it's like this infinite portal, like infinite possibilities that like you're like painting into, and encouraging your students to go into.
Yeah, absolutely.
So beautiful.
Absolutely.
So Whitney, how would you define prayer for yourself? What does prayer mean to you?
So for me, prayer is about focus and intention. You know, I think prayer creates the container where, you know, we're not praying for like the perfect pair of red shoes or something, you know, like that's not what we're praying for. Like, when we go to pray, however that manifests for you, we're asking for a dialogue with the sacred, you know, with the unseen realm, with the infinite. And we're really choosing whether it's, you know, a giving up, surrender type of prayer, right? Like, forget it, I've tried to control this and I don't want to try anymore. I'm praying for your will be done, you know. Or going very specifically with a prayer request, right? But when we're praying, we're not worrying. We're not imagining what we don't want.
Mm.
We are laser beam choosing, even if it's your will be done kind of thing, like flow through me, love, infinite energy, goddess, flow through me. Or again, something specific. We are focusing on what we want. We're focusing on love. We're focusing on possibility. We're focusing on others or service. And the paintings, like I've painted paintings for me personally, right? Like with intentions in there. I was just talking about when I started painting, I Am Sovereign, and Because I Said So. That was the beginning of Super Soul Flow, that program. And then I feel like I'm there. And so there are ones for me. And then there are paintings that I paint for humanity, right? Like, I am in my love, like this world, humanity has learned, like there is an opening that I am reinforcing with the painted prayer, right? Creating it into reality, declaring this is where we are going because I said so. A sovereign artist who is guided by spirit rather than ego, which is the intention. So prayer is a reminder of how powerfully creative our thoughts are, and sending them in a direction that is embracing and in alignment with our hearts and our desires.
Beautiful. Thank you for that definition. Like lit up over here. We've seen that too. It's like these pathways. Like I was thinking of prayers as like pathways into, especially now, like the new earth that we're creating, like a direct pathway. Oh, so beautiful. Whitney, so I know that you have a practice for our lovely folks. Would you like to share a little practice?
Yeah, and it shifted and became clearer as we were talking, thinking about something that everybody has access to, especially if you're here watching this, right? So I invite you to go on your favorite eye candy, whether it's like Pinterest, Instagram, or if you have a bunch of old magazines around. I just was even going to like Pinterest in case someone's like, well, I don't have old magazines. So if you have old magazines, that works, get off the computer by all means. Or you can go on Pinterest or something, and just whether you're screenshotting or making a note or create a board, on Pinterest, you could create a board for like, my vision quest. You're going on a mini vision quest, and add into that board or tear out of the magazine any image, color, pattern, anything that just makes you go, ooh, like, love that, and gather like 13 images that are, again, a color, a symbol, an image, an animal, a landscape, whatever, 13 images that make you go, ooh. And then whether it's a sketchbook or a journal or the back of junk mail and a Bic pen or something, like pick the image that is calling to you the most and just draw it or paint it. You don't have to show it to anybody. It doesn't have to be good. Trust me, this has got nothing to do with being good. This is about engaging with a symbol. And then just notice, get curious about the thoughts that become your current state of consciousness. It's like having a conversation, right? And just see what comes up. And again, you could go into it just totally open, like, okay, let's get curious and see what I think, when I start drawing the yurt. Like I had all these things, and what I really loved is the yurt. So as you're drawing the yurt, just pay attention to what comes to mind. What I can guarantee you, one, is that whatever comes to mind will be different than what was coming to mind before. So if you want a distraction, you want to become present, this is a great way to basically distract that monkey mind or the worry or the stress, give it other things to look at. And then by drawing, we're engaging in that creative frequency, drawing or painting, which inherently has to look for what's possible. Right? There's no like dead ends or failures or horribleness in the creative frequency, only potential. And then pay attention to what comes through. And what I will share with you from 24 years of this kind of practice is that you will have a different conversation within you, around you, drawing, painting, all the different things, in every single time, right? Like I'm working with the snake this year. I have this super fun t-shirt on with the snake. And every time I meditate or draw or paint a snake, I get different information from it. And again, it also, you can think about it as just shifting your consciousness. It's like changing the radio dial. Like I've always listened to this radio station or these two. I'm going to go way over here to this other kind of radio station and see what I pick up. And we expand when we expand our thinking and our ways of receiving. So this is a different way to do that.
I love that. And I love that you're exploring the snake this year. It's like just really, it's like what I hear too. It's like receiving the medicine too from, it's like these doorways where medicine is coming through. Ooh.
Oh, it's like in the sun. See, it's this woman with this
gorgeous
snake, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Whitney,
it's a great excuse to buy new jewelry or get
love it.
T-shirts.
Gorgeous. You are bringing the wisdom hard, lady. You are rocking it. Woo! Yeah, talk about flow. Just just so grateful for receiving all that you're flowing our way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I do think, right? I know that a key to flow, like you can't be rigid and flow.
Yeah.
You can't be like needing control and be in flow.
Yeah.
You have to get comfortable with that surrender, the letting go. And you want to get comfortable with receiving contrary, disruptive ideas or information.
Yeah. As you're sharing, I'm like, there's this painting I've been working on. I've been sharing this on a couple other interviews, that it's like, there's a breakthrough that gets to happen just around this. Like, it's like the how I'm creating, it's like this old structure. And as you're sharing, it's like, oh yeah, I am ready to just so blast through this and get like wildly messy. And you guys, I'll share it, but it's like, yes, just like that explosive, ecstatic excitement of like it being okay to destroy the painting, so something new can come through.
Well, and let's acknowledge how difficult that is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm imagining this painting you've been painting for a long time, and you're really excited for this image or, what you thought it was going to be. And then to detach from that and go a totally different direction or get wild or ruin it.
Yeah.
It's scary. It doesn't matter how many times you do it.
Yeah.
It's scary. It gets easier and easier, right? It's like, oh, darn, I didn't really want to do the scary part this time, but okay, right? Because you've done it a lot of times. But it's simple but not easy what we're talking about here. That's why, again, I think both Alexis and I want you to have this personal creative practice, because it's where you go to develop this ability, this level of awareness. And it does happen. Like it can't not.
Yeah. It's like that bravery too. And I love it. It's like you work it out on the page, like especially now as these old structures are falling away and the new ones are emerging, like working that out on a painting where, it does feel scary. And then you do it. Like, I feel like it's like the safest place to practice that. And then it happens. And like what you're saying, then you bring that confidence out into the world. Like you just face something pretty major on that canvas, so.
And it ripples out into your life and into the world, like effortlessly. It's almost like you catch yourself in flow and you're like, how did that happen? Normally I'd be so rigid right here. And it's like, oh, I've been practicing that at the canvas, like it just happens because physiologically you've created these new neural pathways. And where you used to get rigid and be like, it has to go this way. Now you've developed the fork in the road where it's like, or I could just cover it all up and start all over. And so it's like, it's easier because you're not bushwhacking through dense jungle. You've already done that at the canvas and now it can just flow. So such a simple practice that yields such life-changing results. People, get out the paintbrush and paint.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, I know you have a free gift that will support our lovely viewers.
Of course it will. So, all right, I'm going to send you a coupon code. I'm giving you a new freebie because
Oh, nice.
I think I've given my other freebie to you multiple times, which is awesome. The Life Artist Masterclass is free at whitneyfreyastudio.com. So but for sure, go there. But I'm going to give Alexis a coupon code for 100% off my 21-day painting meditation challenge.
Oh, awesome. I saw that. That looked amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so simple. It's watercolor. They're like 8-minute videos that are just me like doodling with watercolor and beautiful music, 3 different artists. And it's like you're not painting anything so much. We go through the chakras, we go through sacred symbols, we go through the earth elements, just expressing those all very abstractly. So many people have either started painting, like I've always wanted to paint, but I didn't know how. They started with this. People who do paint find a whole different like style, a whole different level of flow. Maybe they've gotten a little rigid with their artwork. We don't draw anything. I mean, some people do. I mean, I log into the private Facebook group sometimes and I'm like, dang, I want to paint like that.
I know what you mean.
But the intention for this is really to show you how painting can be meditation. And to do that, as little ego, left brain as possible. So it's very flowy. So Alexis will have the link below to get you 100% off the painting meditation challenge.
Oh, thank you so much, Whitney. Yeah, you guys, I saw this. When you were advertising it, I was like, woo, it looks so good. So thank you. That is so generous. Thank you, Whitney. Thank you. Yeah, and you guys hop on the Creative Empowerment Facebook group and share what's coming through from listening to this interview, and share what you created from this beautiful prompt that Whitney offered as well. Yeah, it's generous. When you share your artwork, we can feel the medicine of it. And it is, yeah, it's such a generous gift. So please share on there. And if you need some support, we are there. So jump into that group. And Whitney, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your flowing, beautiful, creative wisdom with us.
Anytime, Alexis. You just tell me when.
Got it, girl. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching, and check out the rest of the interviews. We've got some incredible guests, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.